That's fine.
I'm going to start this recording real quick. Hey, yo, so we are back, Session 2 Fantasy Gorilla Show. We are doing this draft with Trader Joe and Big Stan teaming up in a co-ownership for a team drafting this right now for y'all in an auction so you can see the strategy of the best in the business, my man, Big Stan. Say what's up to the people real quick, big homie.
People.
Oh, good. All right, so this draft has started already, and we have a couple players who have been drafted. What do you think about these prices so far, brother?
People are actually being kind of disciplined for the roster size. So that's, I mean, I guess they've played a lot, so they're adjusting. So like 45 for Jonathan Taylor, though, that's too much for me. And then 38 for McCaffrey is a pretty good price, but
Okay.
they're not going crazy. Cooper Kupp went for 32. That's a pretty good price.
It's a pretty good price. A little high, right? Say a little bit high. Well, I know it's a redraft. It's a redraft. So, yeah, that would be a good price. That's a good price.
Yeah. And then Jamar Chase is up to 43, which is, or 42. He just went for 42. Which is, that's, I mean, $10 more for Chase over Kupp. That's a little, I mean, I know Chase he's like the better receiver, but Kupp is going to put up with, he's going to be the safer one as far as
safer bet. And yeah, especially in a redraft. But I mean, I guess between JJ, between Jefferson, Kupp, and Chase, it's kind of like a coin flip, really. Just like whichever one you like,
So I do like to take Chase over Kupp. I did that in a Superflex draft. It was a snake. I took Justin Jefferson first, and then I took Jamar Chase in the second round on the way back, and Kupp was still available. I took them because Kupp already had a work season, and that's, I mean, he's not going to do that again. He's going to be great again this year, but he's not going to do that again. So Chase and Justin Jefferson still have that ceiling where they're going to have that elite season. So though Kupp is safer for the 100 catches and 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns, or we'll say 8 to 10. 12 is probably high.
Okay. And so Josh Allen just went for $50 right here.
Yeah, so that's about right.
It's about right.
The number one pick in this, in the Superflex draft. He's going to be the number one pick. So,
okay, all right. Wonder if
dollars. I would rather we'll see how it goes, how different players get nominated, and see what kind of get a feel for everything before we dive in, unless somebody's a really good price. But I'm in a super flex. I'm going to go for the cheaper quarterbacks because quarterbacks are replaceable. They have super flex. It was created to give more value to the quarterbacks because in fantasy they don't have a whole lot of value. So they have more 6-point passing, but you still want to have the elite running backs and elite wide receivers, and then even with the tight ends, this isn't a tight end premium per se for extra points per catch, but you start two. So they're trying to make these other positions relevant. So I'm not going to put I'm not trying to go get Josh Allen, though he's the best fantasy quarterback. He's just so much of your budget, it doesn't make sense.
Right, exactly. Now I just went ahead and turned down the auction computer sound, so hopefully that isn't interrupting the podcast for you guys, so you're getting the nuggets of wisdom from my man Big Stan as we draft this team in the Chalupa Batman League in the Fantrax universe, Fantasy Gorilla Show, hooking it up for you guys. And so as usual, you'll see at the beginning part of the draft we have no players because Big Stan is running this, and he's sitting back and that's what that's what fantasy dominators do in an auction format. They don't have to jump at the shiny object. Right now, Kyler Murray is on the board, and he is coming up on the bid. $16, $17, $18. What do you think about Kyler Murray this year, brother?
He was the number 4 quarterback on a points per game basis last year, so he's phenomenal. This was, I guess with this contract issues and stuff like that, with the studying, I guess there's questions like his love for the game and his desire to be great and things like that. But his athleticism and his arm and everything, he's just an elite talent. So
you think he's going to run enough? You think he's going to run enough?
Yeah, I think he will. He's probably going to be forced to run a little bit because they're not going to have Hopkins for at least 6 games because he's suspended. And then though I saw some videos of him looking pretty good, though I kind of like Kyler here at $34.
Do you?
I
Are you
think
going to
that
press the button?
I pressed bid on $34.
Okay, there we go. That's pretty nice. You think we're going to get him? I think we did. There we go. There's our first player, Kyler Murray at 34. Man, that's a good deal. I mean, geez. Okay, so let's nominate someone. Who should I throw out? You want to throw out Lamar or Justin?
Yeah, there's any quarterback. Herbert. We want people.
Let's throw out Herbert. There we go. Nominate Herbert. Bam. There it is.
Up their money, and that way we can start getting good values. There was like while we were getting Javonte Williams, he was a good price at $24. That's a good price.
That's an amazing price.
Yeah, he has a high upside.
He does. I really like that price right there. And then also you're talking about keepers, you know, even he might be in a better situation next year, and that might be an amazing keeper too. I think that team did great at 24. Maybe you think we're slipping on that? We should have pressed the button on that to bid it up.
Things set up. You're gonna miss out on some. You just inadvertently miss out on some players. Just whatever. Or going to the bathroom or whatever, you miss out players on auctions and good deals happen. It's just part of doing auction drafts. But in saying that, we missed out on Javonte Williams. But if we would have spent money on Javonte Williams, maybe we hold back on Kyler Murray. So now that we got an elite quarterback at a good price of $34, I mean, we do have a big roster, so we don't want to really spend up on another quarterback. Like, we want to try to get like Matt Ryan and like maybe Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, some of these really cheap quarterbacks.
I love Goff, man. I just absolutely love the line. As a, you know, because fantasy analysis, everybody can tell you the players that everybody knows about, but it's about which out of nowhere player are you going to be benefiting from drafting at a cheap price. And for me, I love Jared Goff. I love the entire Lions setup. I love Swift at his price. It's just, you know, the receivers, St. Brown usually is kind of rising up, but I mean, he can sometimes present a good value. DJ Shark, for me, for your cheap upside player at the prices that he's usually going for, to me, always a steal. In this setting, which is more of a redraft, Jameson Williams, I'm not sure if we're going to be going for Jameson unless we get him at a low price. But yeah, that Lions offense, to me, it just has this kind of feel of the new version of the Rams, like that old 2001 or whatever it was Rams team with the Kurt Warner and all that. I kind of like it. What do you think about that?
I think the Lions is a good situation to buy like Jared Goff cheap in like a 2 quarterback league. Like you mentioned, DJ Shark. I'm not necessarily trying to buy him because I don't really want to. I don't want the only pass catchers I want in that are Swift, which he's a running back, pass catching running back, Hawkinson, and St. Brown. But you can get like DJ Shark is really smart because you can basically get him like you'll probably get him for $1. Like with the deep roster like this is where you want to spend $1 to get him because he's been a good player in the past. His first couple of years in the league, I believe he threw up 1,000-yard season, and then he kind of he reverted like he had like around 800. I think it was a little under 800, like 750 or something. So he's shown that he's a good player. Switching systems with Jared Goff, which I don't think Jared Goff is that great a quarterback, but in good system, he's been a top fantasy quarterback before. He was like the number 5 quarterback in fantasy like 3 years ago or so.
Right.
St. Brown, he's really good slot wide receiver. And then Jameson, the rookie wide receiver from Alabama, Williams.
Sky high upside, big upside. Upside.
For his ACL in the national championship game. So you generally want to steer clear of guys coming off ACL injury, especially late in the year, though we're seeing players come back super fast. But for a rookie in particular, because, I mean, rookie wide receivers, they usually take 2 or 3 years to really hit their groove. I know they have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and like CeeDee Lamb. We had some recent ones that tore it up. But generally speaking, they take a while. And then you're going into the offense that, though I think will be really good and efficient, it's not going to be like a high passing. You're not going to see Goff throw for 5,000 yards. And so DJ probably going to keep Williams on the sidelines, and he'll kind of probably take it like a redshirt year, play a little bit type thing, but nothing. But he'll be good for the team, though it may not show in the fantasy. So I do think it's an under the radar team to target some players. But I mean, Swift is expensive, but like you said, like as a quarterback too, you can get Goff pretty cheap. So like in a format like this, yeah, we'll go for somebody like that, and he might be our second or third quarterback.
Okay. I'm with that 100%. We just had Lamar Jackson go for $5 more than Kyler Murray. That's, you know, you could say that that's a toss up right there. And so that would kind of be the first head up battle between my man Goat and Big Stan right there. Looked like Big Stan won by $5 right there. We're getting Kyler Murray for 34 as opposed to Lamar at 39. Interesting setup right there. And then there goes Derrick Henry for $32. That's a good amount of money, but I love Derrick Henry though. What do you think?
Derrick Henry is phenomenal. He's going to get all the volume, and that's what you want in fantasy is a lot of volume. They even started throwing him the ball a little bit last year before he got hurt, but the problem is go running back, which is redrafts. They don't care about that as much, but they're with the volume and his age. I mean, he's just going to be more susceptible to injury. His efficiency took a huge hit last year, and he was just relying on the volume as before. He was real efficient with his runs in last year. And you could say, well, maybe they stacked the box, or you know, maybe he was just worn down. But he showed signs of slowing down last year. So you kind of 32 is a great price though. So I mean, that team, new team 3, has Javonte Williams and Derrick Henry. That's a good start.
Good start.
So I mean, you're trying to win. 11 teams are going to lose. So Derrick Henry, you know, offers league winning upside. So at that price is not bad. I just would rather stay at 28-year-old running back. Just
especially with Austin Eckler at $40 right here. You know what I mean? Like I kind of prefer Henry to Eckler. Just me. You know, I mean, it's. Go ahead.
If so, like you're saying, you prefer Derrick Henry, and I would agree. I would rather have Derrick Henry at 32 than Eckler at 42. Eckler, he's likely to get 100 catches. That's what his thing is. But they're going to try to scale back his carries, whether they can or not. They drafted the bum out of Texas A&M. You know,
geez, man, $44 for Austin Eckler, 32 for Henry makes us feel like we missed out on Derrick Henry a little bit right there. Nice.
Yeah. So there's some players that, like running backs, I would like to target to not spend up on. Like maybe we can get Swift for 32. I'd rather or Aaron Jones or Kamara, Barkley. I want those players because they're a little younger.
Barkley's a flag player for me, man. I love Barkley.
Yeah, so I want to try to go for guys like that, and then you can get like Travis Etienne, even Cam Akers. You get a good price. Even like AJ Dillon. I'm scrolling through the names, but Chase Edmonds is the guy that I try to get in PPR leagues because he's starting running back, and it's just been advertised as a committee there, and they pretty much have Chase Edmonds and Sony Michel and the 49ers.
Mostert.
Mostert, the guy who plays like 2 games and gets hurt. Yeah. And I mean, he may stay healthy this year. You never know, but he'd be more of like they'll throw him in there and he'll get like 30% of the stuff and he'll get the meaningless carries, and Chase Edmonds will get the important carries. So like in fantasy, you know, receptions and carries inside the 20-yard line, 10-yard line to have a potential to get 4 touchdowns. Kind of like
that's what we want.
Yeah, like Aaron Jones has been like. Aaron Jones has never got like a huge amount of carries, but he's always got like the high value touches, like catches and red zone touches.
Okay. So we don't really need to spend up on running back. There's just a lot of options, is what you're saying. Zeke, you know, I'm wearing the jersey right here because I think he's a great option in terms of what he's been going for. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's been really good. And actually, while we're talking, is the draft paused?
Yeah, they paused it because we had Technical issue. Somebody got booted from Fantrax. This stuff happens all the time on this platform, man, and it's one of the reasons why everybody, I believe, should move to Sleeper and play their fantasy on there. On the Sleeper platform, there's just much better action going on. There's, the messaging system is great. It's like a whole community on Sleeper. Easy to talk to teams. It's very eye appealing. It's very simple, the layout and the format compared to what we're dealing with here. Fantrax does have a few more features, like in terms of, making three-way trades and stuff like that. So that's kind of their deal, what their selling point is. But, for what it is, I believe that Sleeper is a better platform. Fantrax does have a in-house treasurer. So that's kind of cool, but I don't know. League Safe works fine for Fantrax. If these companies can go ahead and shoot some money over here for the plugs, that would be love. And we're having a fun time here with you guys. It's your boy Trader Joe, a Big Stan, Gorilla Universe, giving you the knowledge, dropping you these mental coins right here for your fantasy drafts. Right now, we are in the thick of redraft season. Dynasties kind of, go a little bit earlier. Dynasty drafts are big in the middle of the summer, and this right now is kind of redraft season. So we're giving you basically what a redraft auction would look like. Budget's a little inflated, as Big Stan pointed out. So if you're looking at the exact prices that we have going on here, you got to correlate them to the standard $200 auction budget, as Stan was saying. But other than that, you should be getting some absolute gems from what we are dropping on you right here. Now, we're not going to give you the entire draft today. What we're going to do is we're going to go another, I would say, 10, 15 minutes on this segment. And then we're going to bring on another segment as we're closer to the end of the draft so you can see what it looks like. Not going to hang with us. This draft seems like it's going to go for a long time. And the other thing, Big Stan, is we can kind of cover this too. Like if you have to bounce out at the end, I can wrap it up for us. Or if I have to dip out for 20 minutes or whatever the case may be, we can pass the ball around here and there if you got stuff going on, right? We kind of put this together last minute so that you guys would have something for your drafts this weekend coming up, or this weekend and next weekend coming up. It's awesome time of year. Football brings people together. Football brings people in the community. I met my boy Big Stan right here through the Sleeper community, and it's just awesome. So the fantasy sports is more than just trying to be a greedy person getting players on the team and doing it for yourself. It's about community. It's about guys and ladies. There needs to be more ladies in the fantasy community. There are some, but I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more of y'all ladies step up and join what we're doing here. Y'all enjoy football too, and awesome, you have a better mind for it than we do. Though it ain't about gender, it's just about skill. And this is awesome. So the draft has come back on. Tyreek for 25. That's I don't know. It's a little expensive. For what we're doing, I don't know. Might be. Should we bid it?
No, somebody's gonna do last second bid. That's what they've been doing. That's common, and it's not as bad in Dynasty, but in redraft, last second bids are crazy. Looks like he went for $25. That's a good price, but I'd rather redistribute that money somewhere else. Tyreek Hill is great. He had some efficiency stats that I can't regurgitate just off the top of my head, that he was down last year, and then he's switching quarterbacks with Tua. Though I mentioned earlier that Tua would be like maybe a good on target, just he has weapons, though he's not that great at quarterback, average at best probably. Right. But you want to try to get players that I would try to target that you could get around for that price. Michael Pittman, Mike Williams, even Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, Brandon Cooks, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton. Those are Robinson. This to name a few that would be around those prices, hopefully a few dollars cheaper. Those are the guys I want to try to get for those prices.
Yes, sir. Justin Jefferson went for 48 as in comparison to Cup's 32. That is a big differential. New team 10, whoever that is going to be, is kind of a winner with Cup at 32 right there, based on how this board broke, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't really understand the spending $48 on Jefferson. So this team is like they spent 48 on Herbert. 48 on Jefferson. So they're spending a good amount of their money. So like that would be around $45 and like a $200 budget. As we mentioned, this is bumped up a little bit. So that's not terrible, but so you have two elite players, but since it's such a deep roster, I feel like you could just, if you got like a Herbert, you spent up to get him. That's not crazy. But then I wouldn't spend up to get another player like that. I would get the second, third round, fourth round players to fill out your roster at that point.
Right, right. It's really hard to have to spend that much money on a couple players and do anything. Here's Trevor Lawrence. Why don't we see where are you comfortable going here on Trevor Lawrence?
I would like to get like 15 or something.
15. If he's more than $15, screw it then, huh? Look at that. 21. We're not getting him.
I mean, you had been something about these guys and Trevor Lawrence, so I mean that naturally he might be bumped up a little bit. As in a lot of drafts, you can get him at a good price. But somebody else I like to pivot to and Superflex is Carson Wentz, because he's been like a real life disaster as far as besides this 1 year where he was MVP race and tore his knee up. He hasn't been good as for a real life NFL team, but he slings the ball and he's mobile, so he's been good for fantasy. He's like around the 10 to 14 range quarterback. So he's somebody you can get good that I like to Trevor Lawrence is, if I'm building a team, I want Trevor Lawrence. I don't want Carson Wentz. But in fantasy, I don't care if I have Trevor Lawrence or Carson Wentz because it don't matter how good they are. And, it's not dynasty, so we don't care if we have them next year, even though they're a couple keepers. So, but we're not going to focus on that.
Right.
So Carson Wentz is the same as Trevor Lawrence to me. And now Trevor Lawrence could break out and have an amazing year. That doesn't seem to be the setup that he'll have this year. It looks like he'll likely take a step forward this year, and then maybe next year he could have the humongous breakout. I don't think he's really set up to have a huge breakout this year.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So $25 right here. We go ahead and get a picture here for the media. There we go. Right there on the cell phone. That's what's up. Yeah. All right. So $25, I think that's about even value then for the format that we're in a redraft. If you compare to $25 Lawrence or 34 what we got for Kyler, which one would you rather have?
You asked for I was betting on Brandon Cooks for us. You asked would I rather have 34 for Kyler or 25 for Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Oh, Kyler Murray, easy.
Kyler Murray, easy.
While you were breaking that down and asking that question, we've got Brandon Cooks for $14, which would equate to probably about $12 and a $200 budget. So he's one of the guys. I mean, they don't have a lot in Houston. I don't try to target players especially wide receivers on bad teams, but he's already proved that he can perform in all situations, and he's going to get a lot of targets. So, in this format, you can get a good wide receiver for $14. It's like a steal for us.
Absolutely sweet. Tremendous. And that's like a shark thing. Nobody's going to go, oh, you got Brandon Cooks. But then at the end, when you're putting up mad points and that's, and you're able to fill out your whole roster, then you feel the effect of that. That's what a shark does. A shark is going to be able to get let's nominate someone real quick. You want to nominate Mike Evans?
Let's nominate Najee Harris because
Najee Harris. Okay.
He has. I was on Twitter and I don't remember the guy, but this is kind of a widely known thing that no running back has repeated as number one running back in like 20 years. I think the last person was to do it was Priest Holmes, like 19 years ago or something like that.
Uh-huh.
No running back repeats as the number one overall running back, and no one does it if they're over 25. Then they're not going to be the number one running back. And the thing about this was if you hit the number one running back, it increases your chances of winning your league 50%. So Najee Harris, a lot of people go after because he gets the volume, but he's not efficient. He's not particularly athletic. He can catch the ball. He's fine, but in the context of his offense, they have rough quarterback situation, bad offensive line. He's going to be somebody that you don't mind having on your team because he's not going to kill you. He's going to be pretty consistent. He's probably going to get you 15 to 20 most weeks. But you don't have Big Ben there. I just think he went for 46, and it's just
So that's what we did. We just made somebody spend $46 on a premium player, but not necessarily a league winner. And that's what you want to do in an auction, huh?
Right. You want to, well, yeah, you want to get so I want to fill out our whole roster, but so I don't like him, even though he's mentioned in this thread that I saw that he's the potential number one overall running back. His situation doesn't dictate him being the number one overall running back.
Okay.
So that's just somebody I'm not trying to buy at his price. For example, McCaffrey went for $38. Harris went for $45. So we
That's
just got
crazy.
$45 on somebody that's, not a bad late first round pick in like a one quarterback or a second round pick in a super flex. But we got him to spend the same on Jonathan Taylor was 45 and Harris was 45 and McCaffrey's 38. So
Yeah.
we do things like that and get people to spend money. I feel like I know more than most people that I'm drafting against because I've just spent more time. I'm not super smart.
No, because you do. That's the reason why you're on the microphone right now. That's the reason why you're in the captain's seat.
So you want to strategize and get people to spend, and you want to get value as like the value there. Like if you're spending on running backs, you'd rather have McCaffrey than Harris at 45. I mean, I don't even care about the little thread that I mentioned on Twitter. I want McCaffrey because he's somebody that's shown he could do it with bad quarterback play and get 100 catches.
Yes.
So I mean, you always have health, but I mean, every player, especially running backs, have health concerns because you're running and getting tackled by the biggest guys. So I don't really care about
soft tissue stuff. Does soft tissue stuff crop up like in a more impactful way later in a player's career? Like when you see them have soft tissue injuries, is it like now when they're 26 years old, is it more of a problem than when they were 23, or is that kind of BS?
I don't think there's any like data that suggests that. But I mean, as running backs get older and they have a lot of usage, their body just can't take the same beating as it used to. And McCaffrey is a little bit undersized, but I think that they overused him in spots like we mentioned before, like Aaron Jones. He's never had a lot of carries, but he's always been a top 5 running back, range, because he gets 200 carries and then plenty of catches. And I think like McCaffrey, I think what they're going to try to do, and I could be incorrect, but they're going to try to use him like Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones and still get all the valuable touches. So you may lose a little bit of the upside of getting 400 plus fantasy points. But if you're trading that out for a full season of him averaging 22 points a game, well, then you want to take that. So,
okay.
I know we kind of went on a little tangent there, like comparing all the different players, but we got them. We bid Najee Harris because I'm not particularly interested in it. Everybody's going to have different players, and everybody's going to be right and wrong on players. But yeah, I don't like Najee Harris, so I bid him so I can get other people to spend more money, so I can hopefully get players that we like at a better value, like Barkley. Me and you seem to be on the same page as far as players we like.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I watch you, and then I steal. And then I take it into other leagues, and I'm like Big Stan Jr.
All the smart people do. They watch people that do well, and then they mirror them. And
I remember the first draft I was in with you. I was like, "What the heck?" So that's how you do this. That's how you do this. And so the team I got there, I just basically like traded everyone for picks and punted year one, and then I completely modified my style just by watching you once. The second draft that I was in, I already had it. I already had it because it was easy to visualize what you did. It was simple, and then we went ahead and it's sick. Oh, there we go. So we just explained that one. Fournette for 22.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off, but to touch on what you had mentioned, the strategy that you did, and then you got these quarterbacks, and then you trade like your setup, like they have a productive struggle, and then we're not going to really stay much on dynasty, but what you did there, even when you didn't do like say the perfect strategy of drafting, you made that team into it's going to be a juggernaut in 3 years. But so that your strategy was great. Also, I just always go win now because leagues don't last sometimes. So I like to win now, future later. But so what you just asked about what just happened, we got Fournette for $22. That's somebody that I like. He's a running back in an elite offense. They don't have a lot behind Fournette. They drafted the rookie out of Arizona State. Name slips my mind at the second. Rachaad White, who looks like he could be something, but and you're going to hear this. Tom Brady, he don't tend to trust rookies. They want somebody in there that can pass block, and even more so this year with the Bucs. They have a good offensive line, but everybody's getting hurt. So I think they have like 2 or 3 starters hurt right now. One, I think, out for the year. So to me, you're going to run the ball because that's what Tom Brady offenses do. They're going to run the ball plenty, and they're going to get plenty of dump downs. So for $22, I mean, that's a steal.
So like for an idea of comparison, Chubb went for 26. What do you prefer? Do you prefer Chubb for 26 or Fournette for 22?
I wholeheartedly, Chubb is the better running back as far as a pure runner, but for fantasy, I prefer Fournette.
Okay.
He's in the better offense, and though at the end of the year, Chubb may pay off because Deshaun Watson coming back in 11 games, but we're not worrying about that because, I mean, if you're out of it in 11 games, it don't matter what they do at that point.
Right.
So with that, which we might want
to go on Connor too as well. That's like the same kind of player, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't get carried away. All right, I just don't want to let him go. I'll let him go for 24.
That's called playing defense. That's just that's playing defense right there. That's price regulation. That's price. What we call that? Price what?
Enforcement.
Yeah, price enforcement. Price enforcement. Like, 22. That's the price. We're gonna enforce 22. If we get him, we don't really want him, but we want to enforce 22.
So
I
spend more money on Connor than Fournette. Though, I mean, process, you'll get good deals as the draft goes on. But like with Fournette, he's going to get a lot of dump downs. They're going to run the ball a lot in the Tom Brady offense, even if the line's banged up a little bit. And they're going to be good, and they're going to move the ball. So he's going to have scoring opportunities. So I'm going to want Fournette over Chubb. And we saved $4 there. And this is where it goes in like, Chubb is the better running back. If I'm building the team, I want Nick Chubb. But in fantasy, I want Fournette, his situation. And he catches the ball as Chubb's not a big pass catcher and they have Kareem Hunt at the moment, which I don't know. I mean, we may get more information on him getting cut later or traded. But so you're going to want the guy that's going to catch more passes and the better offense, and that's Fournette. Yeah, so that's just the difference of knowing, like, hey, in real life, it'd be Chubb. In fantasy, I'm taking Fournette. And then with Connor at $23, like, I was willing to spend the same as Fournette. He's in a good offense, and I mean he catches the ball, so that's somebody that you're going to want. But the reason I don't want to spend that, we already spent 22 on Fournette. I'd rather wait to a player that I like a little later that I mentioned, like maybe like a Travis Etienne, or the one that I really get cheap a lot is Chase Edmonds. So
Chase Edmonds, we're gonna have Chase Edmonds on this team. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a sleeper quarterback in our quarterback 2 spot. And I mean, one of the things that I like to do that Big Stan, I haven't seen him do quite as much. So we probably aren't going to do this on this draft, but I kind of like to bogart cheap quarterbacks and to have 3 or 4 or 5 of them as pieces. And then you got another team that, maybe drafted 2 quarterbacks and one gets injured. And quarterback to me is on the trading block, which is kind of what I specialize. I specialize in trades. Quarterbacks go for a little bit more than market value. Usually when somebody needs one in a super flex league, they panic. And so if we can get some cheap, can I put a request in? If we can get some cheap quarterbacks, what do you think about that? Maybe stack a couple cheap quarterbacks on the bench.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. And Dynasty, I think it's it's a bigger deal.
Okay.
That's a good strategy but you need things to happen for it to work. And I mean, I guess you could argue that for all kinds of strategy like ZORB and stuff like that. But you need somebody's quarterback to get hurt, and you need them to panic. So you need 2 things. So if you're playing with a lot of like savvy guys, like if my second quarterback gets hurt, like I'm not necessarily going to panic because I know I only have to start 1 in this format. We don't have to start 2. You only have to start 1. Now it's preferable to start 2. But so I know that it doesn't make sense to sell the farm to get a quarterback 2 if it decimates my roster or takes away players.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna go with that then. And you think you made a good point. This is not dynasty, and it's more of a dynasty issue with the stacking quarterbacks. So I guess if it's there, take it, and if it's not, don't. That's the big thing. You kind of take what's there. That's one of the things I've noticed about you. You're not going to force anything. There's no player that you absolutely have to have that you're going to spend $5-6 more than market value. You take what the room gives you, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I always try to do, and I've done a lot of drafts, auction in particular, and I rarely get into like at the end. I've been in drafts where I have a lot of money left and somebody else has a lot of money, and like two players that I've gotten to some going up a few dollars more than normal is Sutton and Mike Williams, because I feel like there's the last players of the tiers of the high end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1s that might be available that I personally like a lot. So I have got into some bidding wars, but that's when there's what's left over is very slim as what you can get.
Right.
So in that instance, I will strategically bid up because of their upside and what they offer in the tier that I see them in.
Should we go to 13 for guns? Let me press a button. I'm going to go to 12. What do you think about Goff right here? Don't mean to cut you off, but we got one of our targets here. Do we do more?
Yeah, just do 14. See what happens.
See what happens. It's keeping on guts. See, he's starting to be a target, isn't he?
Yeah. So that's still cheap, but I feel like we can get somebody else cheap. 15 is a good deal for him. He's had that one top 5 season, and I just don't want to put my eggs in the basket with him. I think he's going to be fine. But
we can. What if Wentz is $5? Somebody's going to be cheaper, right?
Yeah, like it's $5, but I want Wentz or Goff. I want Wentz in that instance. So
what about Daniel Jones? What about Daniel Jones?
Yeah, Daniel Jones has the offensive coordinator from the Bills that helped Josh Allen kind of become a quarterback. So and
Brian Dable.
You're not projecting Dable. You're not projecting Daniel Jones to be Josh Allen, but if you can. He's a mobile quarterback that has a good arm. So if he could just bump up and be like a quarterback 15 or 16 and you get him for $5 or $6, well, in this format where it's so deep roster.
You want to bid 19 on this?
No, I don't like Breece Hall this year.
And he's in a committee now with Michael Carter.
Yeah, I think that will just be so what happens with a lot of second round picks. So that's a good price, but I just don't want to spend too much money, which like if you're like really worried about the keeper, that would be a good keeper price. That and like
Javonte. It's our time to throw somebody out here. Who are we going to throw out?
Let's throw out Debo. That's somebody I'm not trying to get.
He's interesting. Good. Why are you not trying to get Debo? He's been one of my targets.
Well, in Dynasty, he's a good price, but in redraft, he's a high price. So like he just jumped up to $36 right now. I don't want to spend that because they're switching to a running quarterback. He may still be okay. I think he's still going to be good, but his price and his return on value, I don't believe is going to be worth it. Like that's not even a bad price for him. But you just took. I mean, if he has the exact same year as last year, then that's definitely worth it. But that's probably not what's going to happen. That Ayuk showed at the end of the year that he was a more viable wide receiver in that offense.
We got less than a minute here in the recording, so I'm going to cut this off, and we will be back with session 3 for you guys. Much love.